on the first day of medical school, we started the dissection of a cadaver in the class called anatomy lab. And so in a way, we were kind of thrown right in there in the beginning, like, this is the end of the human story, and understand this. And then we sort of backed up to the beginning with embryology and reproduction and stuff. So it's kind of like I got thrown into that right away, right in the beginning, kind of like, here's a dead body. Now start cutting it apart and learn the name and function of absolutely every bit of flesh.
How did that change you, that first experience with the cold honesty of human biology?
Right. That's exactly what it was, is cold honesty about the story of each individual human body. It has an end, and that's it. I think that, actually before the end of that first day, so what we did on that first day was study the superficial muscles of the back, like the lats or latissimus dorsi and some other muscles. We cut through the skin of the back. My cadaver was laying face down on this metal gurney. We pulled back the kind of plastic sheets that would keep him moist for the next 4 months as we dissected him, cut through the skin on his back, and then started dissecting through the superficial muscles of the back. And that was really all we saw that first day. We didn't get any deeper, didn't enter the abdominal or chest cavity to see internal organs, but I was so fascinated with this sort of behind the scenes look at how things work in the body, how you move your arms, how you arch your back. These are the muscles that do it, that I decided I wanted to donate my own body for the same purpose. So I made that decision literally before the end of that first day of class, and I'm still sticking to it.
So someday there'll be a medical student that can watch and listen to this podcast and while dissecting your body.
It could happen. They might not know that that person they're listening to on the podcast will be the carcass in front of them. Yeah. But we never learned.
The universe will know.
The universe will know.
And they will acknowledge the irony or the humor, the absurdity of that.
The universe will chuckle, but the medical student won't know, because they never, as I did not, learn any personal information about the person. Only what I could glean from looking inside him, which actually tells you quite a bit. I knew he was a smoker. I knew he had coronary artery disease. You get a window into, I knew he was overweight. You get a window into people's lives just by looking in their bodies after death. Other cadavers in the lab, not my own, or I shared one with 3 other students, but other cadavers, some had, metal joints, like a knee replacement. Some had a kidney missing. So they probably, and we could tell it was surgically removed, not that he was born with one. And we could tell that he probably had a kidney tumor or cancer that was removed. So you do get an insight into people's lives from, picking them apart after they're dead, but you don't know their name or what podcast they've been on.
So as the book title says, Unseen Body, so it tells some kind of story of your life. So it does capture the decisions you've made in your life, the things you've done that might be kind of secret to that person and maybe to a few others that knew him or her well. It's so fascinating. So what kind of things can it reveal? Like what kind of choices in terms of the injuries, the catastrophic events, the lifestyle choices of smoking and diet and all those kinds of things? What can you see? What kind of history can you see about the human before you?
So all those things you mentioned are things you can see. You can, take the skin, for example, right? Most things that happen to us leave a mark, as I say, a kind of a story written in the language of scar, where it tells you injuries you've had. And same thing with animals. I've seen deer hides that have marks that look like they were made by maybe a barbed wire fence, something like that. You can tell, sometimes it's conjecture, but you can sort of imagine what might have happened to cause that. Perhaps, 2 bucks were fighting and one got injured with an antler. And the same with humans. I have scars on my body, and when I notice them, I remember what happened. I got a big cut on my hand when I was 13, and it's still there, and I remember what happened, every time I look at it. And so in that way, only I might know that story, but other people, when they dissect me and notice the same scars, they can kind of, it can fire their imagination, as my cadaver, did for me.
They know that there is a story there. That's such an interesting way that the skin does tell a story. Both tattoos and scars.
Right.
And some of the fun you've had and some of the damage you've done.
Right. And even when I evaluate a patient, I can use scars to help me make medical decisions. So for instance, someone that comes in with abdominal pain into the emergency room, you can see scars on their abdomen that tell you about, the past kind of activities of a surgeon, perhaps. I recognize the scars that are left when someone has their gallbladder removed, the scars when someone has their appendix removed, when someone's had a hysterectomy, and that can tell you what it might be or what it isn't. If someone doesn't have an appendix, their abdominal pain's not appendicitis, end of story. So in that way, I'm sort of looking at the tracks or the footprints of past surgeries to tell me what might and might not be the cause of this patient's abdominal pain, which is kind of my main job.